Hello everyone, welcome to GS Core. So in our series of current affairs through MCQs, we are again talking about governance today. So let us begin this session of some MCQs to revise current affairs and prepare for the preliminary examination. So the first question is about the popular scheme Manrega, right? Or the Manregas as the scheme is called. So let us look at the set of statement. Remember, the scheme continues to be relevant because there are issues of wages or unpaid Manrega dues between center and states. It guarantees 100 days of wage employment to a rural household whose adult members volunteer to do unskilled manual work. Yes, that is correct. It is about largely unskilled manual work, though through Manrega and Convergence of Skill India, some sort of skill is being provided to these unskilled people, right? So that's a new thing. Remember, while the policy, scheme, etc. might be in news, a question might not allude to the very current affairs dimension, but to the factual dimensions of that scheme. And the questions for these sessions are largely, for this session are largely arranged on those lines so that you have a holistic revision. Right? So this statement is correct. Second statement, wage revision under Manrega is linked to the changes in the consumer price index for rural laborers. Well, that is not the case. It is indeed CPI, but for agricultural laborers. Right? That is CPI AL and not rural laborers. Hence, this statement is incorrect. Third statement, the employment shall be provided within a radius of 15 km and if it is above 15 km, extra wage will be paid. Well, it is 5 kilometers and not 15 kilometers. And if the work is provided beyond 5 kilometers, then the workers shall be given 10% of the minimum wage as an additional amount. Next statement, every rural household has the right to register under Manrega and 1/3 of the beneficiaries must be women. That is correct. So out of the four statements, we have first and the fourth statement as the correct answer. Hence, the correct option would be option B. Option B. Moving on. What is the aim of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan? Well, with schemes and abhiyans and programs like this, we should know the factual aspects. Remember last time I talked about the scheme and ministry/department mapping as well as the area in which it operates, because at times the name can be very, very abstract, right? So in this, if we look at the various statements, achieving 100% literacy by promoting collaboration between voluntary organizations and government's education system and local communities. It can be, right? Connecting institutions of higher education with local communities to address developmental challenges through appropriate technologies. Can be. Remember, in both of these, we are talking about local communities. Third, strengthening India's scientific research institutions in order to make India as a scientific and technological power. Again, it can be. Next, developing human capital by allocating special funds for healthcare and education of rural and urban poor and organizing skill development programs and vocational training for them. Again, that is also a Unnat Bharat or progressing India kind of a thing. So until and unless you factually know what is the correct answer, it would be very difficult. So do not take risk, right? For this, the correct answer is option B. Option B, right? Basically, idea is to bring transformational change in the rural development processes by leveraging knowledge, right? Hence, the correct answer is option B. Option B. Moving on. Consider the following statements. Nationwide soil health card schemes is aimed at, so clearly we are looking at agriculture as a sector. Expanding the cultivable area under irrigation, yes. Enabling the banks to assess the quantum of loans to be granted to farmers on the basis of soil quality. Well, no, that is not the correct. It is not for the banks. If we look at in detail, the idea is that this particular scheme is, not to be assessed by the banks, right? Even if we look at expanding the cultivable area under irrigation, it does not expand area. So while on the face of it, yes, it might seem a correct statement, but it ends up being an incorrect statement as it is not the intention of the soil health card scheme, which is run by Department of Agriculture and Cooperation under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Third statement, checking the overuse of fertilizers in farmlands. Yes, that is the correct motive because soil health card gives the soil profile in terms of the nutrient contents and the deficiencies and merely aid the farmers to rationalize the use of fertilizers. Hence, only the third statement can be pinpointedly linked. And the option pattern also supports that. Other statements are maybe sort of. Hence, the correct answer would be option B. Option B. Moving on. Which of the following, with reference to the Indian Swachhta League, consider the following statements. It is India's first intercity competition led by youth towards building garbage-free cities. Yes, we are talking about Swachhta and garbage, very much linked. Next, Indore was ranked the top youth mobilizer among cities with a population of over 10 lakh in the ISL. Well, that is not the correct case. For that, you need to see the facts, and it was Chandigarh. Right? So this statement is incorrect. And remember, here we need to find the incorrect statement. So in the rush, you may end up mark this one, but you will get negative marks. Hence, here the correct answer would be option B, because option B means 2 only, and we are required to find the incorrect statement, and the second statement was incorrect. So please be very careful of these twists in the examination. Simply like this, in a rush you might overlook this. Moving on. Which of the following statements regarding Pradhanmantri Awas Yojna urban are correct? Remember, there is a tussle going on between the center and the state government in West Bengal about the Pradhanmantri Awas, and there are various controversies. Controversies aside, we need to take up the scheme for our examination. It aims to provide all-weather Pakka houses to all eligible beneficiaries across the entire urban area of the country. Yes, that is correct. It is mandatory for the female head of the family to be the owner or co-owner of the house under this mission. Yes, as a measure of women empowerment this is being done. Also, if you look at other schemes, for example, Pradhanmantri Ujjwala Yojna, here also women are being emphasized upon. So the overall theme, the overall flow, and the overall underlying current across the government's development and services agenda, you need to identify these themes so as to identify the correctness of the statements. Next statement: all houses under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojna urban have basic amenities like toilet, water supply, electricity and kitchen. Yes, that is correct. These are the bare minimum criteria that are being decided. So that makes all the statements as correct, and we need to find the correct answer. Hence, here the answer would be option D. Option D. Moving on. Consider the following statements with regards to National Data Center Policy. Remember, data is being talked about. Data is the new oil, right? You have a Privacy Act coming up, right? Privacy Bill rather. So this space of digital aspect is in news. Under the policy, the data center parks have been proposed to set up for high data storage needs. Yes, that is correct. Data centers are declared as essential services under the policy. That is also correct. It is a component of Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. Yes, that is also correct. If you look at the policy itself, it was unveiled in 2020, right? And it has clearly defined terms like data center, parks, etc. Right? So all the statements are correct. Hence, the correct answer would be option D. Option D. Next, with reference to the Bureau of Indian Standards, that is BIS, consider the following statements. It is a statutory body under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Remember, various bodies, that is constitutional, statutory, quasi-judicial, executive, etc. are part of governance and social justice. Whether we talk about the National Human Rights Commission, whether we talk about institutions like FICCI, right, NASSCOM, etc. All these form the part of civil society, and these bodies are there for the protection of vulnerable sections, right? Similarly, these bodies are also part of the governance. So whether we are talking about bodies like TRAI, right, Bureau of Indian Standards, etc., they are there. So it's a statutory body under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Well, it is indeed a statutory body, but not under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It is under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, right? Remember, scheme and ministry department mapping. Similarly, we need to do a body and ministry department mapping and the nature of the body, whether it is statutory, constitutional or quasi-judicial, right? So that makes the first statement as incorrect. Second statement, it is the only national body that frames standards. Obviously, this is a very, very abstract kind of a statement, right? This statement is abstract, right? Because there are other bodies that might be there, but we are talking about, standards that are set. So it's a vague statement. Such vague statements have a duality. In this case, this statement comes to be correct because of the fact that the Bureau of Indian Standards, the government actually, establishes as a national standards body of India because of the BIS Act, and hence this makes it the only national body that frames standards. While you might have other institutions supporting the BIS, but the BIS has the legitimacy to frame standards because as per the Act of 2016, the BIS was established as National Standards Body of India, right? So that makes this statement correct. Very, very deep kind of a question. So we need to find the correct question, statement. The statement 2 is correct. Hence the answer would be option B. Option B. Okay. Next. PM-DESH scheme, recently seen in news, is implemented by which ministry? Remember the mapping I talked about? The scheme, ministry and department, right? Similarly, the body, ministry, department and the nature of body. So DESH scheme, basically here the correct answer is option A, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. If we look at the DESH scheme, it is called as Pradhanmantri DESH or Kaushalta Sampann Hitgrahi, right? Various agencies, that is National Scheduled Caste Finance and Development Corporation, National Backward Classes Finance and Development Corporation, National Safai Karmcharis Finance and Development Corporation are other stakeholders. Moving on. Which of the following statements regarding Startup India Seed Fund scheme are correct? Less known scheme. But there was a PIB release about it, and hence it is important for our study. Let us look at these statements. It is a scheme of Ministry of Commerce and Industry, that is correct. It's a sector agnostic scheme that aims to provide financial assistance to startups for proof of concept, prototype development, product trials, market entry, and commercialization. Yes, that is the idea because it is providing seed fund. Third, individual entrepreneurs are not eligible to apply for support under the scheme. Yes, that is correct. Okay, it is largely for the incubators and others, and not for the individual entrepreneurs. Remember, you have other schemes like Mudra, Stand Up India, Startup India. Okay, so that is there. So that makes all the three statements correct, and hence the correct answer would be option D. Option D. Moving on. Consider the following regarding the Park Bay scheme. Again, lesser known. It aims for diversification of trawl fishing boats from park straits into deep sea fishing boats. Well, that is correct. That's the idea of this Park Bay scheme. Remember, we talked about India Yearbook or the volume like India 2023. We always say read it. Such schemes are there. Also, you find them in Yojna and Kurukshetra. Remember the fisheries sector? Right? So that is there. It is a part of the Pradhanmantri Matsya Sampada Yojna. No, it is separate. It is not a part. Though the scheme also caters to the fisheries sector, but these two schemes are not, sub-part of one another. Hence, we have only the first statement as the correct statement. Hence, the correct answer would be option A. Option A. So that brings us to the end of this video. You can attempt more such exciting quizzes spreading across the subjects for the preliminary examination on our website by scanning this QR code. That's all from my side. Thank you.